You probably know, if you care about quality, that you shouldn't buy any derivatives of plastic, so polyester, polyamide, etc. And brands know that the consumer is getting smarter, so they have started to advertise 100% cotton, 100% wool, 100% linen. But the problem is that although those materials are natural, they are still not good quality. In this video, I'm going to show you how to recognize good materials with your eyes and with your touch, so you don't have to only believe the label. What is going to make a quality cotton first is both the length of the fiber and the finesse of the weaving. So when you have a cotton shirt, look at it from up close and look at the finesse of the weaving. The more fine, the better the quality. Although the finesse of the weaving guarantees its quality, if a cotton shirt is too transparent, it's not going to look expensive. So the first thing that you should look at when you are intending to buy a cotton shirt is whether or not the cotton shirt is transparent. Just slip your hand under and see to what extent you can see your own hand. It doesn't need to be completely opaque, although that's best, obviously, but you shouldn't be able to see your hand completely. Just distinguishing the color of your hand underneath is the maximum of transparency that you should allow. The heavier the garment, the denser the cotton, the more quality it's going to look. And the logic is exactly the same with linen. The thicker the linen, the more expensive it's going to look, and the more transparent, the cheaper it's going to look. So this is mid-range, a bit like the kind of quality you would find at Zara or H&M. A good quality linen is going to bounce pretty well. And as you can see, this one doesn't have a lot of spring in its step, which shows that it's not of the best quality, and there's also not much density in it. Now for silk, it's the same logic. The more fiber, the longer the fibers, the better the quality. The kind of silk that you'll want to go for is called mulberry silk, and that is because the silk worms are fed only with mulberry leaves, which makes them produce the highest quality of silk in their cocoon. So silk is not vegan. The way I choose my silk is, rather than looking at the density itself and thinking by default that something with more density is better than something with less density, I think rather about the purpose of the silk piece. This is, for example, a little caraco, which is something that you put on your shoulders when you're a refined lady, when you wake up in the morning, or something that you put on top of your classy underwear. Because of this purpose, I didn't want something that was opaque, and I wanted something that was purposefully see-through. But for professional settings, I obviously don't want to go for something that is see-through, so then I will choose my silk top just by looking at it, doing my hand test, seeing if anything is transparent, and looking at the shine of the garment, whether I like it or not. And whether you want to go for a shiny silk or matte silk is just a question of preference. In terms of connotations, you'll have something a bit more laid back and discreet if you go with matte silk, whereas if you go for something that is shinier, it will be more classy, traditional, a bit more I am showing my wealth, because this is obviously silk and it shines, so it catches your eye. Now for wool, the logic is the same. The longer the fibers, the better. You'll want to ideally go for virgin wool, which is wool that has never been used before, so that means that you get the longest fibers possible. If it's not on the label, usually it's because it's not virgin wool. So you'll have shorter fibers, and because you have shorter fibers, you're going to have way more pilling. So this is not great quality wool. This is something I bought from Cézanne. It is actually blended with polyamide, 30%, so that is why, in spite of having not worn, maybe I worn it once and I didn't wash it, so you can see already how this is going to age. So this was definitely not a good investment. A good quality wool is going to have a lot of weight to itself, and it's also going to be quite stretchy because the fibers are long and intègre. The longer the fibers, the least pill you're going to get. So this is something that my mother-in-law made for me, and I have worn this to skiing in the countryside, like camping, all the things, and it looks impeccable. I can maybe find one pill somewhere. Yes, we have a few pills that I can just... It means that the fabric is not losing its integrity. And an invitation to buy in person if you can, so that you can actually test the garment. This is a little cardigan that I bought at Cézanne a month ago, something like that. I've worn it 2-3 times, just at home, working in front of the computer. I have not washed it, and it already has a lot of fuzziness on it, to the extent that I wouldn't want to take this cardigan to a professional meeting because it wouldn't meet my criteria. I bought it online, and had I seen it in person, I wouldn't have bought it. Also because of the buttons, which is something I'm going to get back to. So the more you can see the garment in person, the better, because this said 100% alpaca wool. So I thought, great, no polyamide for once. But it's still not great quality, and I wouldn't buy it again. And for cashmere, the length of the fibers is even more important. This is a cardigan from a brand who reached out to us to partner up, and we declined their invitation because we were not delighted with the quality of the product. This is, just for you to know, a brand that we see everywhere on social media, especially on YouTube, and that a lot of my colleagues promote a lot. So it's not because it's 100% cashmere that it's going to be worth your investment. This I have not washed either, and I have even shaved this thing a couple of times. Had I spent my money on it, I would not be happy, and this was a couple of hundreds. The reason why the quality of the materials is so important is not so much for how you're going to look when you wear it once, twice, or 3 times. It's mostly a question of making your investment worth it. Because something that you spend a lot of money on and doesn't look great after a few wears or a few washes is literally throwing money out the window. Buying good pieces is an investment because it brings you back literally money, especially when we're thinking professionally. The better quality you wear, the more seriously you're taken, the better customers you attract, the more opportunities are presented to you. So it's not as much looking and feeling great, which is already a great benefit from buying great clothes. It's also projecting yourself and picturing yourself in the world in a way that brings you back opportunities and success, money, and development. This scarf I bought last summer, I've been wearing it pretty much every day, and I have never ever shaved it, so it's pretty good. I didn't spend too much on it. I think it was 120 bucks. As of now, I'm happy with my purchase because it is lasting. It's not the longest fibers ever, but it's good. And this pullover, I think I've shown you many times over, the longest, thickest, densest fibers I've ever had. I have never shaved it, and it looks pretty much, and it even went in the wash once. Not that I don't wash it, but it went in the washing machine, and it looks still really impeccable. Like, the integrity of the fibers is still really strong. The way that you can know if your cashmere is good quality or not is by going to the store, taking the cashmere in your hand, and then rubbing it. Because when you rub it, if the fibers are short, you are going to get a little pilling right here at the top. Don't stroke it, because usually manufacturers use conditioner to make it all shiny and pretty, and if you do that, you're just going to make it behave the way it is intended with the conditioner. So really rub it with your finger and see if you get a little fuzziness, a little pilling at the top. If it's bad quality cashmere, it's going to happen right away. Here I get a little ball right away. If it's decent quality cashmere, you're still going to feel it a little bit under your fingers, but it might not be as easy to get something out. And if it's great quality cashmere, nothing is going to happen, and you're really going to feel that you're just gliding onto the garment. Now, I said I'd get back to the buttons, and the buttons are so important for the perceived quality and expensiveness of your garment. You can have, like it's the case here actually, a great quality material, but paired with plastic buttons, and it's going to cheapen the whole thing. And that is something you might not know, but buttons used to be made of shell or horn. But today, 99% of buttons are in plastic, and only brands that truly care about quality still use shell as the material for their buttons. It's not too difficult to distinguish plastic from shell. Shell is going to have a pearlescent shine when you show it to the light. So you're going to see that mix of green and red colors. If you don't have that shine and it's very uniform, very white, usually those buttons are white, then it's just plastic. And for horn, which unfortunately I don't have anymore, which is what they're trying to imitate here, you'll want to have that mix of beige and browns in a bit of an irregular way, and obviously a rather matte shine, or you'd be able to see the little nervure of the horn, which obviously here on the plastic thing you can't see. And another way to know if it's plastic is to hit it with your nail, and it's going to have that very plasticky sound, just like your Tupperwares. Let's now talk about leather bags, because has the quality decreased in the past years? I was at Dior recently with my mom, and we were trying on their new bucket bag, which I really like the design of. But already when I saw it, I thought, that doesn't seem to be the greatest quality in the world. And then when I took it in my hand, it was light and a bit cardboardy, which tells you that a leather is not as great as it could be. And the reason why I have such a picky eye for leather is because I've been lucky enough to be raised around horses. I've learned horse riding because my mom is a rider. So I've been around saddles, boots, and all of the horse gear, which is made of leather and brass. So I have seen really, truly beautiful leather, which was not at all glamorized the way leather handbags are. And that's why today when I look at a bag, I can tell in a second if it feels and looks quality or if it's not. A good quality leather, even if it's thin, like this bucket bag was, is still going to have some weight, some density, and some suppleness to it. Whereas a leather that is not of as good quality is going to have a bit of that cardboardy effect when you touch it. A good quality leather should be supple. And it's also when it's supple that it's going to look the most expensive. So when you're choosing a bag to buy, make sure that it has some weight to it, that there is some density in the leather. You should feel that the bag is nicely heavy, but it's supple at the same time. You'll find bags that are supple but are very light, not good. And you'll find bags that are heavy but that will lack this natural suppleness. It's more like flock, 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 flock. When you try a bag for the first time, really touch it everywhere. Feel its weight, feel its density. It should feel dense. It should feel like it's solid. Feel the suppleness of the leather. It should be almost a little creamy, and see already how it behaves while it's new, because it seems that brands are trying to make us believe that a bag is supposed to be harsh before you use it, but it's not the case. It's just that the leather is not great. A truly high quality bag is going to be supple from day one. I remember when buying brand new saddles or bridles that the leather was already supple, it was already beautiful. It was a bit like leather that had been used, but it was pristine. And the other thing that you should pay attention to when choosing your handbag is the hardware, the quality of the hardware. Hardware used to be more noble materials like brass or gold-plated brass. Today, it's just steel with a coating of paint, which is something that's going to wear off eventually, and it's going to reveal the silver underneath, which is going to make your bag look inexpensive and reveal that it was cheap or cheaply made. I'm taking this bag that I bought recently because although it is stated that the hardware is brass, I am not too sure that 100% of the hardware is brass. If we look at this lock, for example, it definitely looks and feels like brass, the same brass I remember from the saddles and the bridles. But then when we get to the clips here, it doesn't feel like very dense brass. So it might qualify as brass, but I can tell from having hooked things like this to horses and bridles and saddles that it doesn't feel as dense. So the best looking material on your bag is going to be either stainless steel, like is the case here, either brass. In my opinion, brass is the most beautiful because it patinates and it marks, so it gives a lot of texture to your bag. And the last important thing for your bag to be quality and to look quality is the zip. The zip should look and feel solid, so when you use it, it feels like it's really tightly attached to the bag, and it makes that nice solid sound. You'll always want to have shoes that are in leather because leather breathes. If you have shoes in plastic or polyester, it's going to trap the heat, it's going to make your feet smell, and you're going to get really hot. So sneakers in leather, please. And that's still okay to find even in prestigious brands. But you'll see that the quality of the leather, just like what I was explaining for the bags, is still going to be that very stiff leather. The thing that you should pay the most attention to when buying shoes is the sole, because you'll find leather shoes easily enough, regardless of the quality of the leather. But today, most shoes have plastic soles, and plastic soles are slippery. You can't resole your shoe, which is important if you're making an investment for your shoe, and they don't have the suppleness that a leather sole or a rubber sole would have. You'll recognize rubber versus plastic because rubber is much more matte, and when you touch it, it has a little grip, whereas plastic is just and it's the same with the tip of the heel. Now most heels have a plastic tip. You should be able to find a rubber tip. Here we have both. Here we have rubber at the top, plastic for the heel, which is a way that brands cut costs. Rubber has a dense sound, whereas plastic is hollow. When I'm choosing a coat, I'm also going to be looking at the composition, obviously. I'm going to exclude any coat that is not 100% wool or 100% cotton. This one is 100% wool. What is going to tell me that it's a good quality coat and it's going to last is the weight of the coat. This one is decently heavy. It's a little workout. So when I touch the coat, I should be able to feel the density of the fabric. And I'm going to look at the lining of the coat because that's a really big giveaway that you might not think about. A coat might look great from the outside and then you take it off or someone peeks at the lining and then it's in shiny polyester. And then it cheapens the whole coat and the whole perception of you. So it's really important that the lining of the coat, first that there is a lining, because it's not always the case anymore, and that the lining of the coat is in natural materials. This one is in cotton. Ideally, the most luxurious option is silk. So that's just gorgeous because when you take off your coat or somebody, you know, your coat flows away and then somebody peeks at the shiny, beautiful silk is just mwah. Another decent alternative is Cupro, which is cotton pulp that has been heavily chemically reassembled and re-put into fibers. It has a nice silk-like look and it does breathe because it is cotton, but it is cheaper than silk and it has been heavily chemically processed. So as always, check the label and make sure that the lining is not polyester. Obviously for jewelry, the best and the most durable is to buy solid gold or solid silver. But here I want to talk about all the alternatives so you can have some fun with your jewelry without necessarily investing into a piece and tell you what are the things that last and what are the things that don't last. The first option that you have is to buy pieces in stainless steel. Stainless steel tends to not give allergy when you to wear it. And it also doesn't wear off. It's very durable, very solid, and affordable. The best option, in my opinion, and you might start to know my taste, is brass. I really love brass because it's a real solid metal. It doesn't wear off, it doesn't have any coating, and it patinates beautifully. Also, if you have a cold undertone like mine, brass is going to suit you better than this color that I'm wearing right now, which is a really bright gold. It's going to be more harmonious. As you can see, it's not horrible to the eye, but it's going to be more harmonious if you have this more silvery kind of gold, and brass is a beautiful way for women who have a cold undertone to wear golden jewelry. The next option, if you have a warm undertone or if you like that kind of gold, is gold-plated brass, which is also something that I love and which is also what those earrings are made of. I love gold-plated brass because it has the weight and the density of brass, but it still has the shine of real gold. It is going to wear off more because it's plated, so the more rubbing, especially if it's not high quality plating, the more it rubs, the more it's going to reveal the brass. But once again, that's not something that bothers me because I like the color of brass. Next option, and that's particularly good if you have allergies or if you're very reactive to metals, is vermeil, which is sterling silver plated with gold. With vermeil, you shouldn't have any allergies. It's a really good way to have a quality piece of jewelry, and also because it's silver, it has some weight to it, so it doesn't feel cheap, and it definitely doesn't look cheap, without investing the amount that you would have to invest if it was solid gold. And what you'll want to avoid at all costs is steel, painted steel that you will find at H&M or Mango, because these just don't last a week. They get gray, they get red, they leave little green marks on your fingers, they give you allergies. In my opinion, they're really not an option, also because they tend to have a very tacky kind of gold that doesn't shine at all like real gold. So it's much better to get stainless steel. It's going to be a very tiny price difference than steel like this. Now for diamonds, we have a good alternative, which is cubic zirconia, which is basically man-made crystal. It takes the light in a beautiful way, it shines, it's usually cut well enough so that it gives a lot of the colors of the diamond, a bit more than a diamond would. But it's a great alternative to have something that looks expensive and chic without reverting to just glass. So if you go to H&M, for example, and you have something that looks like a diamond, it's going to be just a piece of glass. And these ones were gold-plated stainless steel, and I spent 30 euros on them. And finally, if you want to invest in a real diamond, I really encourage you to buy lab-made diamonds, because they're exactly the same. They're real diamonds. They even actually tend to be purer, and they do not have the risk of involving any child labor. They don't involve mining. And in my opinion, for the absolute no difference that it makes on the diamond, it's totally worth it. So to wrap up, when shopping, first look at the label to make sure that there are no artificial fibers in your garments, because it's really going to age your garment very fast. It's going to look cheap, and regardless of the amount that you pay for it or the brand that you buy it from, it's going to look cheap. Then when you're sure from the label that there are no artificial fibers, then look at the garment, assess whether or not it looks full, it looks dense, it looks heavy and thick, because that is directly associated in everybody's head with something expensive and quality. And then do a touch test. See, when you take the fabric in your hands and the garment in your hands, if the fabric is indeed dense and thick. Check the material of the accessories and the details. So if it's some cheap, tacky plastic, then probably buy something else, because that's just going to cheapen anything. And if it's some decently made plastic, assess whether or not it has a tacky shine that really makes it look like plastic, or if it's decently done, and then, well, then it will do. Try it on, see if it hits where it should hit, or plan on making it tailored, and then finally see if it's worth the price for you. And a good hack that I like to use is to go to the men's section, especially if you want to buy shoes at Zara or bags at Zara, or pullovers pretty much anywhere, because men, they are granted with usually 100% natural fibers, because men buy less and they look more for quality. Whereas us women, we are more expected to change our style with the seasons and with the trends. So we are not provided with clothes that are made to last. That is actually also a great way to train your eye. Go to the men's section, look at their shirts, look at their pants, look at their pullovers, and then go back to the women's section, and you're going to see that there is a drastic difference. Something else that I like to do a lot to buy quality pieces at affordable prices is to buy secondhand. So on websites like Vestiaire Collective, The Real Real. I recently bought a vintage Saint Laurent suit, which is as old as I am, in wool and cashmere, and it fits beautifully, and it was a great buy, and I spent $250 on it. Unfortunately, in today's world, you need to train your eye to recognize quality. You can't trust the brand, definitely not. And you can't trust the label either, because 100% cotton can look cheap or expensive depending on the density of the garment. And if you would like to learn all of this and really get the in-depth training, I'd like to invite you to join the Authority Vault, which is the dressing school that I've opened. You'll learn how to recognize quality materials, you'll build your signature style, and I'll help you personally build your signature style. You'll learn what are the right colors for you, both for clothing and makeup. You will learn where the garment should fall specifically on your silhouette, and you will get access to all the brands that I source from for my private customers, so that you don't have to wonder which brand is actually going to deliver the quality for the money. You're also going to learn how to speak eloquently, so you can speak and show yourself to the world with confidence. I personally support you and guide you every week during group calls, so you are never left with a question unanswered, and you get to join a very active community of ambitious women. So if you feel sometimes that your ambition and your dreams are too big for the circles that you're currently in, then you get to be with women who will support you and make you feel validated in dreaming so big. And because I know that you're going to love this program, I take all the risk. You can try it for 30 days, see how you like it, go through all the modules and all the bonuses and everything. And if you realize that it's not for you, then I give you your money back, no questions asked. If you'd like to join us, the link is in the description. Thank you for spending this time with me. I will see you very happily in the next one. À bientôt!